Andy, Warren and Stuart Watson at Portman Road, where Town's Papa John's Trophy campaign is off and running. Stu, 6-0 victory over Northampton. The road to Wembley starts here. A fun night for the 5,000 at Portman Road.
You love a bit of EFL trophy, don't you? This is your bag, your competition. Comfortable can be tonight, wasn't it, for Ipswich Town?
Stop dampening it. It was great.
No,
they
not
couldn't have
at
done
all.
much more, could they?
Absolutely not. No, 11 changes. The whole team changed from Saturday's 2-2 draw against Barnsley. Of course, 11 changes for Ipswich still equals a really senior first team squad. There was no kids really that you would say in there. Cameron Humphrey's the closest thing to that in that starting 11, and he's someone that's knocking on the door of the first team. So, and they were up against a League Two Northampton side who had made plenty of changes themselves and got a couple of early goals through that man Marcus Harness and never looked back tonight. Yeah,
and that was the difference between this and the Colchester game, which ended so frustratingly for Town. The goals didn't come that night; they did tonight, and against a less senior side than Colchester as well, and they were able to see it through. We instantly thought about a little bit of karma. I think we're going to be moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what's happening?
I think so, yeah. Kicking us out. Okay.
We were being kicked out, and we are out, but we will carry on talking. And we were about to talk about the opening goal of the game and a bit of the beginning of restorative justice, maybe. I don't know if you can talk about an opening goal in a Papa John's Trophy game as being that. But this one was more of a foul than the one at the weekend, wasn't it? Quite frankly, Marcus Harness getting above his man to somehow manage to head the ball in off the bar and the post and into the net. But that was more of a foul. If there was either of them were a foul, it was this one, wasn't it?
Yeah. Karma might be pushing it. I'm not sure. Like you say, a goal against Northampton at the start of a 6-0 win kind of cancels out what would have been a winner against Barnsley, but hey-ho, you're right, it's far more of a foul than the non-existent nonsense that we had from the weekend, but we'll move on from that quite quickly. He got the first, and he also got the second set piece, Claxon. It was from a corner. Bit of a scramble, wasn't it? His first shot saved, and eventually sort of turned in a loose ball. And once Ipswich were 2-0 up inside 16 minutes, it was very, very comfortable from their cruise control, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were picking their battles from about 3 or 4 minutes in. It was pretty clear that Kyle Edwards was going to have so much room to work, and this is jumping ahead a little bit. This is the thing that pleased me the most, and just watching him play with a smile on his face again. You have to remember the opposition. He was given far too much room, but he made the most of it. He wanted to play. He was on the front foot, and he was the source of the third as well, wasn't he? A ball stood up for Greg Lee, who we know is good in the air, and then it's 3-0 up, and the game's done. Yeah, some lovely array of step-overs from Kyle Edwards before that assist that you just mentioned. Bamboozled his marker and then stood the ball up to the far post. Greg Lee just powers over the top of the fullback who was rooted to the spot, and Ipswich were 3-0 up at half-time. And then we had a few changes in the second half, and I'll jump to the last goal, the sixth goal, which came in stoppage time, which came from Freddie Ladapo, who came on at half-time. Was it half-time? Yeah, thank you, yeah. And they'd have been going, go on, 3-0 up here, go and get your first goal. And he had a couple of chances, and they came and went, and you're thinking, is this going to backfire, sort of getting him on to get that confidence-boosting first goal? But he did finally get it in stoppage time, and a really nice finish. Yeah, and I thought the biggest cheer of the night. I think a lot of people would have enjoyed him doing that. An off day at the weekend, but in previous games he's worked really hard. The goal just hasn't come. And this is why I like this competition. It's not just the novelty of it all. I think it can be a good arena for players to get going, and I hope that's true for Edwards, who is a bit unique in this squad, can do things others can't, and a first goal for Ladapo is always going to be good. So he's off and running, and that will do him the world of good. We need to talk about injuries, don't we? Before we get to injuries, just to round up the goal scorers, a couple from defenders tonight. We've talked about defenders chipping in with a few more goals for Ipswich, Cameron Burgess and George Edmondson, who stepped off the bench with a couple of headers. So that rounds up the goal scoring, but you're right, we do need to talk about a couple of injuries, the first of which happened before a ball was even kicked. Connor Chaplin was named on the bench, but was replaced on the bench at the last minute. Yeah, Xander Saziba taking that one. Was it a groin for Chaplin, but a precaution, which you can do on the bench in a Papa John's Trophy game. Connor Chaplin's so key to this team, isn't he? if he feels something in the warm up. I saw in the warm up, actually, going off on a warm up tangent. In the warm up, he kind of was working with the substitutes and then got taken over to get involved with the first team when they do the possession drills. He was getting involved in that. I wonder if it happened then, maybe changing gear in the warm up a little bit, but don't risk Connor Chaplin in the Papa John's Trophy game. It's just not worth doing, is it? But then especially, I'm glad they didn't, because later on you see Shawnee Aluko going off injured as well, and Connor Chaplin would have been the man to come on at that point if he'd had that knock, and would not have been worth the risk.
Yeah, and then the Shawnee Aluko one is just before half time, and that looked potentially nasty, didn't it? He's just taken a bit of a kick on the outside of the knee, and he went down and he stayed down, and he was in some serious discomfort and had to be helped off by 2 physios, arm round each, and headed off down the tunnel. Martin Pert was on media duties afterwards and just said that it's too early to say on that one. But that is two of Ipswich Town's inside forwards, attacking midfielders, number 10s, whatever label you want to put on them, going down with injuries. Hopefully Chaplin's isn't too bad, but does that just change things a little bit as the transfer window creeps up on us? 11 p.m. on Thursday night. We were umming and ahhing, people in different camps as to whether stick with what you've got, or do we add something? Maybe that just kind of pushes Ipswich towards signing another attacker. And McKenna wanted to do something anyway, but that might just push them into it a little bit more.
Possibly. Possibly. Maybe tips maybe into a probably, and that's maybe all you need in the final 48 hours of a window to do something. Dominic Ball is probably worth a mention, who picked up a dead leg after 2 minutes, but played the remaining 88 plus stoppage time on a dead leg. And at times that leg looked more dead than other times throughout that game.
Last 15 minutes he was really soldiering through on that one. I was amazed when Ipswich kept making substitutions and his number didn't come up on the board. So that tells you everything about his character. He's a bit of a warrior, and he wanted to get those first 90 minutes in the bag. Debut for Richard Keogh as well. He could have played with his pipe and slippers tonight. That was comfortable for him, player of his experience. So, those little injuries aside, all in all, good night for Ipswich Town.